Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm glad we got the particularly cool bit of that track in the intro music over just before the timer ran out. So today we're here to play some Across a Thousand Dead Worlds, which I feel like I've forgotten everything I know about the system, but I'm sure I'll get back into it as soon as we start playing. So we are returning to Silas Lang and his band of merry men. An entirely new band of merry men, actually, because they all died in the previous expedition. So this is the character that we had in our little campaign of however many weeks ago it was. But this is just going to be a little one-shot standalone adventure thing. If we don't finish it today, we'll pick it up again some other Monday. But yeah, it's intended to just be a one-shot. We'll see. So we'll assume that some time has passed since the previous expedition, so he's had time to get some new crew and get a bit of money. And so I've rolled up a new cast of NPCs, I've outfitted them, and we are ready to set off. So before we get to that, let's just introduce our characters. So we have here Silas Lang. He is our player character. He was a rich guy, or maybe the son, a wealthy son of a rich family, a hedge fund kid. That's it. That's what I've got written down there. And he got caught in a big hacking scandal and had to essentially flee the planet. So the setting of Across a Thousand Dead Worlds it's the future, but it is not a nice future. The exact year is 21 something. Let's find out. It does say we have a little bit of intro text here. Have just a quick look. If we can't find it, doesn't matter. We'll just skip over. I'm not sure. I'm sure it says the exact year somewhere, but the setting is it is a Earth in the future where essentially the planet has been exploited to ruin, pretty much, and it's just a hyper-capitalist hellhole on Earth. People are trapped in terrible jobs like being algae sludge farmers and picking through scrap piles for finding anything of use. It's not a good place to be. The hyper-rich live comfortable, easy lives, as they always do. But there is an escape for some. You see, an asteroid was found out in the solar system. There are many asteroids out in the solar system. It's not unusual for them to be there. And at this point in history, asteroid mining is a thing. You know, companies buy the rights to an asteroid, they will go out, mine it, and profit wildly off the ores. But this asteroid was special. This asteroid contained a partially intact alien station, the only alien station that has ever been found. And this station is packed full of ships with pre-programmed destinations. There's no means of working out where these things are other than by getting in the ship and hitting the go button. There's no means of redirecting them to go somewhere else. You just get in, push the button, you maybe show up somewhere in several weeks' time, and there are fabulous riches. At least that's the hope. Many people die horribly in the pursuit of this. If that premise sounds familiar to you at all, it is because it is basically the story Gateway by Frederick Pohl, but turned into a game, which is pretty cool. So I do recommend this book if you're looking for some sci-fi to read. It's pretty good. And yeah, that's the premise. So there is this bustling space station that's been built up around this asteroid. People called divers show up. They spend their life savings on a one-way ticket to the station, to Karam Station as it is called, and then go out on these incredibly risky missions to find something worth selling. And what we learned in our mini campaign is actually pretty hard to make money as a diver. It's very, very dangerous. You're unlikely to survive, really. And also, the company takes a large portion of anything you bring back. So even if you have a successful expedition, it's not like you're set for life. But of course, the company propaganda is, look at these few divers who've made amazing discoveries and came back with inventions that changed the world and are now fabulously wealthy. You too could be a person like that. And that's enough to get the desperate masses coming. So we have Silas Lang. He was set up for the easy life as a wealthy son of a rich family, but he got caught up in a big scandal and had to flee Earth, and is now slumming it around with the Paws. Because this character's been around for a little bit now, he has some traumas from seeing various crew members die. All of his crew members die, in fact. So he is obsessed with becoming a famous diver, one of the few who really made it, and is ashamed at how poorly the missions go in practice, like this mismatch between what he wants and what the reality is. And he thinks that if he was better, Zhao, who was one of the previous ill-fated crew members, and the others would have lived. And he is distracted, finds it hard to focus. He has shaking hands when the enemies get close. He feels broken, he feels nervous. He is really in a poor state, and he actually has a permanent 5 stress from that, so let's put that up. His nervous tick is a cough, and I believe 5 stress is the point which triggers your nervous tick, so he is always just coughing to himself as well. Our cast of brave NPCs, we have 4 of them because the maximum crew size for a ship is 5. We have Licia Mioke, or Mioke, or Miok, I'm not sure, probably Miok. She is an female-appearing elderly person. She is, or at least acts confident, but has a shady nature, and she tends to interrupt others. She is I didn't write down the thing. She is I'll kiss it out with assault gear. So NPCs kind of, we pick this sort of starting gear. So we have 2 assault characters, 3 assault characters and 1 support character, I think. We'll get to it. All the characters also get a random talent. So Licia's talent is when she is in melee, she can choose to attack an enemy with a plus d10 damage, but the penalty is she has a -2 defense for that round. So kind of, putting herself in a worse position to deal more damage. Being able to do a higher amount of damage is potentially quite useful, because the way health works in this game, just to briefly summarize the combat, is you need to, when you're dealing damage, enemies don't quite have a pool of hit points. Enemies more have a threshold you need to overcome to actually hurt them. And so doing lots of small hits over a long drawn-out fight won't actually get you victory. You need to be able to do big hits where it counts. So a whole extra d10 of damage is quite a lot. Our next character is Wasim Musa, who is a middle-aged androgynous person, is quite bold, also shady, like Licia, and gets distracted easily. Wasim is also an assault type. You can tell because the gear is basically the same for all of the types, but the assault people, they have a better gun, the Requiem B99. And Wasim's random talent also was to bash. We have Kyoko Ai, who is a support type. She has medical kits, some anti-radiation pills and so on. She is an androgynous, elderly appearing person, but is quite optimistic but cautious. Cautiously optimistic is a sensible combination, I think, here, and always wears something red. Her talent is a coup de grace, so she can deal bonus damage against a knocks down opponent. And finally, we have Myrtis Nobuo, who is also an assault type. So we have 3 assault types and 1 support type, and then our player character, who's more of a all-rounder, bit of a technologist, I guess. Myrtis is androgynous, elderly, nervous, but also practical, and constantly cracks her knuckles. and her talent is a little bit complicated. So it's called Momentum. So let me just find it to get the full text. So when in combat, she can choose to, when in combat she tries to take out a downed enemy, she gets a plus d6 damage, just automatically. That's quite nice, no penalty to that. And if she succeeds in killing the enemy, she gets a plus 2 damage for the rest of the combat, and that stacks. So if Myrtus kills 2 enemies, she will get a plus 4 damage for the rest of the combat. So that's pretty good. It's kind of a berserker type, I guess. The slight sad thing about Myrtus is that, this is a really good thing. You won't have to deal lots of killing blows, but her dexterity, the thing used for ranged combat, is not amazing. And that's it. That's our cast of characters. So we are going to roll up a new mission and set off and relearn the rules of this game, because I have forgotten everything. Right, here we go. Playing the game. Right, so I guess first thing is a big choice you make in this system when you're going out on missions is you can choose to either go somewhere that a previous expedition's already gone to and they'll have cleaned out part of the stuff, but it's also partially known, so that could be a help, or you can go somewhere totally new. You have no prior information going into it, but you'll have first dibs on all the stuff. In the campaign, we did one known destination and one new destination, and I think we're going to go for a new destination this time. So we don't know anything about it in advance. It could be a planet, could be a space station. We'll find out. We have a crew of 5, and that means we all pile into a KRM-05, the Pentagon. This model has a diameter of 70 feet, so it is fairly cramped, I suppose, with 5 people and all their gear in. It has a single smooth floor, no discernible controls, and a constant diffuse light emitted by something behind the polished walls, which turns itself on as soon as someone boards the ship. So a common trait of all the alien technology, the RC, they are the aliens, is that everything is basically incomprehensible, but also super reliable. So if you can, push the right button or whatever, it will generally work. When things go wrong, it's usually because people have interfered and tried to make it do something it's not normally intended to do. Right, okay, so we need some sort of sheet somewhere. I think it is probably... so we'll have either a site or a planet sheet, depending on where we end up. So we'll need to do the journey, and then we'll copy over a sheet. But to start with, we need the name of our ship, which is, of course, of vital importance. Also, I should say this system is by Black Oath Entertainment, so the same guy as Colonel Thalos and Rift Breakers and many other systems. Right, let's see, here's my D100. Our ship is the 61. The Anthem. The Something Anthem. It is the Twilight Anthem. Suitably ominous. I don't really have a start date. Let's say we're now in week 10. Okay, we are not travelling to a known destination, so we are generating the whole thing from scratch. Yeah, most divers eventually choose to bite the bullet and risk it all by voyaging towards one of the thousands of unknown destinations logged in the ship's navigational systems. This type of expedition holds many unknowns, so the crews must prepare for all eventualities. This usually means bringing a variety of gear, including medical supplies and weapons. So the gear that we have got for this expedition. Firstly, we get some standard gear just given to us for free, and that is every person gets a hazmat suit, a vac suit, and some oxygen pellets, which we consume at a rate of 1 per hour, a battery, which we consume also at a rate of 1 per hour, an alprazolam pill, which I think is an anti-stress pill, we can look that up in a moment, a pistol and a knife. We also get, for the ship as a whole, we get a survey scanner which will detect things like gravity and atmospheric concentration and magnetic field and that sort of thing. Medical kit, which is used to treat injuries. Thruster pack, which I believe is used for zero-G navigation. So, we only get one of these, so hopefully we won't need to do much zero-G. A survival kit, which is, I think, like a tent and outdoor survival stuff. Probably rope and that sort of thing. By default, we get 6 oxygen tanks per crew member. I have decided to stock that up to 12. And similarly, we get 6 weeks of supplies per crew member. And again, I'm stocking that up to 12 because a journey might take more than 6 weeks. And you don't want to, spend 6 weeks getting there. Or rather, if you've got 6 weeks of supplies, you don't want to spend so long getting there that you don't have enough supplies to get back. Then people might start asking questions like, who has to stay? Or what can I do to ensure that I get a seat on the way back? Our crew members have their standard gear with a few extra things. So I've topped up their... So I've included the starting gear here, but I've also topped up their oxygen pellets, ammo and batteries a little bit more. The assault types, they have the Requiem B99, which is a big gun, and our medic type has 2 medical kits and 2 anti-radiation pills. Our player character has a slightly nicer gun, I think. All of his standard gear. He also has the scanners. He has a lock-picking device. It's called a lockpick, but it's a fancy technological thing you plug into a piece of technology. He has an emergency vac suit sealant just in case, and some more oxygen pellets, batteries, and ammo. Right, so we start with a blank site report sheet. Okay, site report sheet. This is our combat encounter sheet. Creature, planet side, site expedition report. Okay, shall copy this over here. There's nothing left to do but board the ship. Right, 20% of people back out at the last moment. In truth, most voyages are grueling experiences. Whether it's a single diver in a floating isolation cell or a pod of people enclosed in little spaces with no privacy, stress and fear of the unknown become palpable very quickly. Most divers attempt to sleep through it. Others exchange useful gear for a virtual reality device to smooth their travels. We are not doing that. Our characters will sit here and suffer. The voyage is the worst part of any expedition. I suppose it's the outward voyage specifically. So yes, you don't know how long it's going to take. There's a chance of having like a weird time dilation effect and spending years of subjective time by which, we just arrive as desiccated corpses. We might arrive and realise the journey was too long, we can't get back. It's a bad time. So we have little random procedures to determine how long the journey is and what sort of things happen on it. With many random tables. And then determining what happens here. Okay. Space voyages take 1 to 7 weeks. Every week there is a 40% chance. So we shall roll... I guess we can just roll a D100 for that. And we add a 10% chance every week. So it's unlikely we'll get there in 1 week, but it is still, actually not that impossible. Okay, all good. Yep, right. So let's go out on this journey. Okay, right, so I thought it explicitly gave like a list of steps, but I guess it doesn't. Just kind of explains the procedure. So every week we're going to roll our white d10 to see if we've got there, and we are going to roll our black d10 to see if we have a random event. So we start with a 40% chance of arrival, going up 10 percentage points every week. We have a 20% chance of random encounter, going up by 20 percentage points every week. And then we have a bunch of random tables to determine what sort of thing happens when we get there. So let's head over back to our journey sheet, because we'll want to log how long it took. That's going to be some number of weeks. Okay, and if we roll that we've both arrived in a week and have a random event, we'll say that the random event, it happened in the days before arrival. We'll just say arrival takes like a full week. Okay, we do not arrive, and we do not have a random encounter in week 1. So yeah, we just pass the time talking, eating the delicious nutrient paste sort of thing. Week 2, we arrive. Okay, that was a very quick and uneventful journey. We could maybe work out what people are talking about in the journey. There is a whole table for random conversations. Let's go have a look at that. I suppose it's not going to be a random conversation that has mechanical impacts because we didn't roll it as a random encounter. But we can at least see what's going on. Let's see, conversations. So if we rolled a random conversation as our random encounter, we can use these tables so we can work out the conversation topic to work out what they're talking about, and we have this reaction table which can have positive and negative results that will affect the character's stress. Since this wasn't a actual random encounter we rolled, we'll just say that there's no stress impact from this. Speaking of stress, I think when you set foot in the ship, you get stress. Let's have a look. Yes, boarding a ship to start a new mission, 5 stress. So Silas Lang is now on 10 stress because he starts at 5. And NPCs, we don't track their stress as granularly, they just gain 1 point of stress every time a PC gains a point of stress. I think it's 1 point. Okay. So at 10 stress, you might react negatively to stress. So Silas is always a bit on edge. He's always nervously coughing. When he sets foot in the ship, he experiences this kind of moment of dread. He's probably been out on a few trips since our campaign, but it always really gets to him. This first moment. It's like people say the voyage is the worst part. He really feels that. So he is going to possibly react negatively to stress. He has to make a resolve test. And I don't remember how skill rolls work in this game. It is a die plus the stat, and you have to equal or beat 20, I think. I think it's a d20, but I'll find out. Let's have a look. Playing the game... skills, perhaps? Yes, you roll a d20, add the skill value. If it is equal to or higher than 20, you have succeeded. So he has a resolve of 6. I'm going to roll a d20 plus 6. That is a 7, which is, 7 plus 6 is not 20 or higher. So he is around others, so we're going to roll this stress reaction. Just one moment, please. Okay. Shut my window because there's something loud starting to happen outside. Okay, let's see. What does he do? 10. He becomes uncooperative. Blames others for their current situation, becoming stubborn and unwilling to cooperate. Okay. It says most stress reaction will naturally fade, so I guess this is going to fade over the course of the journey. This is kind of interesting because I think he's kind of the expedition leader here. But then when he gets on blaming others for his situation, maybe he manages to keep it together until they take off, and then he just has this outburst. I assume this can't be too uncommon amongst the more experienced divers. He just has this outburst where, or maybe he just like starts being like really sullen. Someone is like, "Silas, are you okay?" And it's kind of like like Gandalf asking Bilbo about the ring. He's like, "Yes, of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be okay?" I'm like, "Okay, Silas." Everyone just edges a little bit further away from him, and it's a fairly awkward journey. But we're going to roll up a random conversation to see what people are talking about here. Of course, there's going to be more than one conversation, but maybe this is just like one particularly notable conversation that happens. We got a 13. They're talking about Earth's future, and what's the general vibe talking about Earth's future? I would be quite pessimistic, I feel, in this setting. Dismissive. Okay. Maybe Silas is the dismissive one. He's like, "Why are you talking about this? We're out here. We just have to make the best of this bad situation." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay." So it is probably a relief when, after a mere 2 weeks, we arrive at the destination. So we arrive, we then roll a D100 to see what sort of thing we end up at. 2. The ship exits its final jump within a star that has recently expanded into a red giant. The ship and all those within it are destroyed. Well, that's the stream, everyone. Thank you. See you next time. Okay, let's reroll that. Maybe someone wakes up with a bad dream, like, oh, I had a terrible dream that we, woke up and they came out of jump space and the ship immediately exploded. Oh, I'm glad that didn't happen. And what actually happened was that the ship docks in an RC base inside an asteroid or planetoid. Okay, that's good because we don't have to break out the planet hex crawling sheet. Right, so it was a 2-week journey, so we've consumed 2 oxygen and supplies per person. These are already like per person, so we're down to 10 weeks per person. So we are very comfortable on this stuff. Yes, it is a pretty brutal roll. I think we can also I think that's the only instant death roll there. But also one of the journey events we could have is a time dilation. Or a transit dilation, where things take longer or shorter than they should. And if you have a time dilation effect, you might just arrive as skeletons after 10 months in space. Okay, so we have arrived at an RC base inside an asteroid or planetoid. So we've got our... Yep, we have our site sheet here for tracking time and everything. And yes, we're not going to track, real time. We'll just use this summary, which I'll copy out over. Let's copy this over here, so we've got a quick reference to this. Each of these boxes represents 10 minutes, and every hour we expend 1 battery and 1 oxygen pellet. So it's kind of like, like dungeon turns from, old school D&D, just in space. Okay, right, so because we're in a facility, it will have a non-toxic but oxygen-poor atmosphere, so we all have to wear an oxygen mask. There's a 20% chance a site also requires a hazmat or vac suit. Okay, let's roll that. That is a 100, so no. We can just get through with oxygen masks. We don't need any more serious gear. And now we get to name the site. There's a 3D100 table, so let's roll all of those at once. This site is... What we got here? We have 91. This is Tui. We have 65. Fra. How did I do this before? Yes, I didn't have the... Yes. Okay. So it's just Tuifra something. Tuifra 73 323301. It rolls off the tongue. Tuifra 323301. Okay. Let's put this down on our sheet over here as well. So we've previously been to another site, Zastho, and we've been to a planet, GK Cornix. That is big text. Tuifra 323301. Okay, what was this? So it said this is a facility inside an asteroid, I think it said. Yes, an RC base inside an asteroid or planetoid. So maybe that will inform what we think this thing was. Okay, it was a spaceport. That's very fitting. Maybe, the RC base that we found in our solar system is, a spaceport inside an asteroid, so maybe we've kind of arrived at another transit hub. However, we can't celebrate too much because no other RC craft or other working RC craft have ever been found. So we've arrived at somewhere that maybe looks familiar, but it won't open up the universe any further to us. A key part of any interplanetary travel network. Unfortunately, the few spaceports that have been found had no ships whatsoever. But what happened here in this time that it has been abandoned? It has become unstable. Okay, maybe the planetoid is like breaking up or something. It has no artificial gravity. Okay. Maybe you know, RC technology kind of works pretty well, so maybe like with the unstableness, like parts of the planet maybe start to break off or something, and so like maybe the structure has like big cracks running through it, and like, the gravity generators have just been, you know, destroyed. So this is kind of unfortunate because we only get one thruster pack, which I believe is what you use to navigate in Zero G. Let's have a look at our tech. Gear. Don't even have magnetic boots. Thruster pack. This harness unit's multiple macro thrusters allow multi-directional movement in zero G environments. So we only have one of these. How much are mag boots? I could just say we bought mag boots. They're quite cheap. They do give a penalty to Dex. Let's just say we bought mag boots. Let's note it down. Just wondering, like, how do you navigate in zero G? Let's see, zero gravity. Suppose I could just make it challenging and not have, and you know, not say that I got mag boots, because I didn't pick them out beforehand, so that would be more fair. So if they don't have mag boots, their zero G skills, character must have at least one free-handed pass a Dex check each turn. Failure means they have lost control. Each turn, is that in combat? Is this the combat section? It's conditions. Yes, during a fight. Because I don't think it would be that fun, really, to roll a Dex check for every character, every single, you know, interaction that they have with the world. Okay, let's say that we don't have mag boots, and we'll assume that we're kind of sticking to the walls and moving around that way. We do have one thruster pack, which I guess Silas is using. I didn't actually note it down on his gear, but it's in the starting gear that we always get. So we'll say that Silas has got that. So he can move around somewhat freely, but everyone else is stuck to the walls. And let's see, does a survival kit have, like, rope in it? That would be useful. Okay, survival kit has a 10-foot rope, which is really not much, but it could possibly help. I guess it's going to be a tough site exploration ahead of us. This is the risk of going to a site that's not been visited before. We don't know this. Okay. Right, now we determine the maximum number of potential ambushes. So combat encounters are, or I guess enemies rather, are divided into two types. There's the known threats, which are kind of common across RC space, and we can run into them anywhere. I guess we'll have at least one because we're rolling a d6 to see how many there are. And then we also have the site-specific encounters, and there's a random monster generator that we will use for that. And previous random monsters we have encountered have included Let's see. GK Cornix, we may not actually have encountered any creatures. Yes, for GK Cornix we only encountered the known threats, but for Zastho, we were at a huge bio-research facility that had been entirely taken over by small lizard-like, like reptilian, synthetic humanoid creatures. Who had just spread and destroyed everything else in the facility, and we kept running into these guys, and it was a real pain. So let's see how many known threats we will encounter, or we may encounter. 3. Fairly quiet. Okay, so we note that down here. So we have 3 possible encounters, and we will mark them off as we have them. Most RC sites have a dominant hazard that forces the crew to adapt their approach. Okay, so we shall roll for what that is, and then we can look through, get some description, and we'll have tables that tell us when this happens. So I guess being 0G is not the dominant hazard here, it's just a side problem. It has a toxic atmosphere. This is awful. Okay. So, not only is the atmosphere unbreathable to humans, as usual, but it's also corrosive when in direct contact with skin. All characters not wearing a level B hazmat or better suffer D20 damage each round. We get a level B hazmat. Okay, so everyone is flying around in either hazmat suits or vac suits. I feel like vac suits might be more practical than hazmat suits. Like, let's see. What is a level B hazmat suit? Hazmat suit levels explained. So this is a level B. So actually that looks fairly maneuverable. I was thinking of the level A when I was picturing something really, bulky. So it's unwieldy, but it doesn't look super unwieldy. It's more like a bulky set of clothes, I guess. Okay, we'll all be wearing level B hazmat suits then. This is probably less cumbersome than an entire spacesuit. Alright. This activity was fairly quiet. And the hazard is toxic atmosphere. Everyone in hazmat suits. Does a vac suit includes magnetic boots? Let's have a look. It'll be back in the armor. Vac suits includes magnet. Okay, we're all wearing vac suits then. Perfect. We can all walk around very slowly, like clunk, clunk, clunk. Nice and protected. 0G is no problem. And how big is this site? Small. So it is a small spaceport. Maybe maybe it was larger at one point, but part of it is just like crumbled away. Yes, required B hazmat suits. Obviously, a vac suit is better than that. Let's see what it actually says here for hazmat suits. Yeah, okay, this sounds like the same sort of classification we've got in the real world. The level A hazmat suit is the like very protective thing. The level B1 has respiratory protection but less skin protection. Okay, right, and now we note down what we might be able to find. So it is a small site, so D4 plus 10 resources, D4 plus 10 xenoanthropological finds, and up to 4 unique encounters. Okay, so we have up to we have 12 resources to be found and 14 artifacts. No, we've not found anything yet. And up to 4 unique encounters. So I misunderstood this on my first sight. I thought, oh, up to, or it says a die here, so that means clearly I roll the die and determine how many there are. So I had a huge sight, I rolled a d12 and got a 1. It's like, wow, this huge sight only has 1 encounter, and that was the predatory lizard things. But really what it means is every time there's an encounter, we roll the die to determine what it is. We have an example here. Lewis's character Amanda has just had her first sight encounter, a Titan. Since she is exploring a small site, she writes Titan in the first of her site report sheets 4 encounter slots. Next time Amanda encounters an enemy, Lewis must roll a d4 on his site encounters table. If Lewis rolls a 1, he'll be another Titan, otherwise it'll be a new creature type. Okay, right, and then we have this procedure for generating connections, and let's see, was there something about the number of doors or something? Because I definitely have a variety of number of doors from rooms. I can't remember if I was just making this up or not. Let's keep looking through. Okay, this is more on I think I might have just been rolling a dice to decide how many exits there were from each area, because these aren't like individual rooms, these are more big chunks of space. An example, perfect. Right, so yes, everyone gains stress, we do our journey. Work out what's going on. Right, yes, there's nothing for it doesn't mention choosing how many areas an area is connected to, so I guess I'll just make up whatever feels right. Okay, where were we? We were here at area connectors and area events. So our ship, after spending 2 weeks traveling faster than light with these kind of like hyperspace jumps, I guess, like the way it describes it somewhere is that the ship kind of enters, I guess, hyperspace or something, and occasionally will drop out into normal space, like briefly to reorient itself, and then hop back into hyperspace. So 2 weeks is a pretty short journey, so maybe we blast off from Karam Station, and then the stars around us kind of blur and lengthen, and we enter hyperspace, and then 2 subjective weeks later we pop out just somewhere else. The stars are all different. There's a bright purple star, so let's say, since this is unstable, maybe we pop out into what's clearly like the ruins of a solar system, where the star has begun to expand. into a red giant, and so we pop out at what seems like it should be the outer system, just based on like the size and like layout and arrangement of things. But actually the star is pretty close because it's expanded. That's why everything is all like cracked and broken, and our ship just smoothly pilots us towards one like planetoid in particular, and as it gets closer and closer, we eventually see that there is an opening in the side made out of like smooth metal, and we just like fly inside and land. And let's draw a kind of flowchart style indication of where we are. Is that how I got the others done? Yeah. Okay, so let's roll for what sort of thing we encounter. Oh, we have an ad coming up in a minute. Let's snooze the ad and roll up what is in this room, and then we'll have the ad break. Yes, we're an hour in and we're about to set foot into the first room of the dungeon. Okay, right, D10. Where's my D10 gone? Here it is. For what we find in this first room. 4. A xenoanthropological artifact. Okay. Cultural, historical, or ethnologically interesting finds. These include notes on architectural elements, pictograms, art, anything that might describe the RC or another civilization. Was there a table somewhere of like room descriptions or I don't think those room descriptions, but just something to flesh things. Yeah, there's like somewhere there's like tables of adjectives. Let's have a look. So it's not this NPC stuff. It is after the action and theme. Okay, I guess action and theme is what I was presumably using before to inspire. So I mean, I guess we're arriving in some sort of like docking area if this is a spaceport and we've come in just from space. So maybe we can get a theme to work out, roughly what the vibe of this room is, or possibly an action. So we have a 99, which is desire, or as an action it could be deceive. We need a text box for notes. And what sort of like room titles was I coming up with before? Okay, that was a site. Okay, I was just noting down what it was and kind of riffing off that. Okay, so area 1. Is like the docking, or one of the docking rooms. Docking bay, that's the term. Is that how you spell xenoanthropological? I think that's right. For some reason the dictionary doesn't think it's a real word. Let's fix that. Okay, desire, I guess. Maybe there's like a mural or something on the wall depicting like tall, spindly figures in an abstract style, like walking amongst the stars. So let's see. We emerge from hyperspace in the ruins of a solar system. Its star expanding and the inner planets consumed. The ship smoothly pilots us to a planetoid identical to others around it. And our butts as we get close, we see, let's say, dozens of openings. Dozens of openings in the side landing bays. Another Karam station. So art is pretty unusual. I believe somewhere in here it describes what RC facilities are generally like, and art is not a thing they usually have. So it's odd to see something, which is why it is an artifact worthy of taking. I scan the atmosphere. That's character names. Okay, Silas scans the atmosphere, the atmosphere, and determines we'll need mag boots and skin protection. I guess you'd put on the vac suits beforehand. So I guess we all pop on our vac suits and step out of the ship. So we put on our vac suits and step out of the ship. Silas scans the atmosphere and determines we'll need mag boots and skin protection, so we keep them on. Torchlight, or beams of torchlight, shine around as we try to see what's here. Suddenly, let's pick one of the crew members at random. 6, there is no 6th person. Silas. So beams of torchlight, our beams of torchlight shine around as we try to see what's here. Suddenly Silas yells over the comms that he's got something. Everyone looks over and we see a large mural of tall, spindly figures, abstractly depicted. I guess with no feature, no facial features or details. Striding amongst the stars. Let's have 2 of our fighty types. What are all of our NPCs called? Let's say Licia and Murtis is very practical. Murtis is practical and Licia is confident and Wasim is bold. So let's say Murtis and Licia pry it off the wall with crowbars and dump it in the ship. Okay, and I guess we'll say that 1 unit of time has passed here because we have we've entered a new area. That's time. And there's more we can do in this space potentially. And we'll say 1 unit of time has passed, and we will have an ad break now because I have snoozed it sufficiently that pre-roll ads are on, which no one wants. So I will see you in 3 minutes after the ad break. I will start that now. Welcome back from the ads. I hope everyone had a good time and enjoyed them. Right, so we have found our first thing. We actually need to go look at the xenoanthropological artifacts. Okay, it actually tells us what it is. I like the idea of it being some sort of mural, since that's what I've said, and I think it's a cool idea. But maybe we'll roll for what it is, and that could give some inspiration as well. Right, so we find 2 artifacts out of a total of 14. So we cross things off on these little boxes, but honestly that's going to be a pain. So we got 2 out of 14 here. Right, okay, let's see what exactly we've got, and if a painting sounds cooler, if a mural sounds cooler, we'll just keep the mural. A fabric-like material impossible to break, and a 5-foot metal blade covered in intricate sigils. I prefer the mural idea. Maybe we take this mural down, or it's like in a frame or something, and it is painted on or drawn on a fabric-like material that's impossible to break. Like, someone trips or slips with their crossbow. Not crossbow, this isn't fantasy. Crowbar, that's the word I was looking for. Someone trips or slips with their crowbar and, like, thinks they're about to put it through this mural, but they just, like, slides off. And, like, an invulnerable material. Very cool. So a large mural. Who's going to slip? Is someone clumsy? That would be the obvious person to slip. If not, I could just pick on someone at random. Let's see. So I have Licia and Myrtus. Licia is elderly. Myrtus is also elderly. Neither of them seem particularly clumsy. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just say that, yeah, as we remove it, we realise, there's something weird about this material. Okay. Or... yeah, it's fine. We'll just leave it like this. Okay, so we can also search the area. Let's see, so we're going to attempt to activate an artifact. Okay, I guess it is more interesting to roll for what it is, because then you can use it and whatnot. Yeah, okay, right, going forwards we'll actually roll for an artifact rather than me just forget we have a table of artifacts. We can also search the room, so we can scavenge. Sometimes an unlucky crew will find a site almost depleted of data crystals and alloy cubes, which are, the real moneymakers here. Still, even RC junk can be of interest to the KSA. An ambitious crew, can't speak today, an ambitious crew can spend time and make a single RC technology check to scavenge for scraps. So I'm going to do that. So who is good at RC technology? What is Silas's RC technology stats? He has a 6 in that, so that's probably our best bet. But it does not succeed. Okay, so we spend one time looking around for anything we can rip off the walls, like bits of wire and whatnot. But there isn't really anything here. An interesting thought. I guess since there's a toxic atmosphere in here, but it's a spaceport in a planetoid, there must be a force field or something that we've passed through to get in. So, when the ship smoothly pilots to a planetoid and we see dozens of openings in the side, it just takes us in, and we pass through this invisible shield. We pass through an invisible force field to the pressurized interior. Okay, if this is a dock area, I think there's probably 3 exits from here. It's a reasonable number of exits, I feel. Why is my line so weedy and thin? Okay, let's go. I mean, we can roll for what sort of passages that they are, but it doesn't really matter which way we go, I suppose. Yeah, I don't really have a feel for how these areas might be connected, so let's just let's go north. This is, of course, north because it is upwards. And so let's see what sort of connector we've got here. What is this corridor like? This 0G corridor. There is a bridge. That's cool. So maybe we move through this like large docking area and like trying to find a way deeper into the facility rather than staying on the periphery. And one thing we pass through on our way in is a bridge over like just a huge space that is like a ship like construction facility or something. So we are like we've got like a bridge thing, and think like Batman factory style thing, like a big bridge over like vats of chemicals and stuff, except it's like Asian technology and stuff like way down below us, but there's no way we could get down there because it's just such a huge space. I'll work out what area we've arrived in a moment, but we head deeper into the facility. We head deeper into the facility, passing single file along a narrow bridge above like hundreds of feet. This is sci-fi, you can't use feet. 100 meters. Don't you complain about British spelling to me, Firefox. 100 meters above an empty factory floor. Let's say that there are it's 0G though, so the fact there's a huge gap beneath us isn't really, I guess it is a problem, because if you fall off you can mag boot up the walls though. I guess it's not really a problem that it's way below us, so maybe maybe we don't cross the bridge, maybe we just like go down, we just walk down the walls, mag boot down. So we head deep into the facility, arriving at a broken bridge, because it's, the whole place is unstable, right? That once spanned a huge chamber. There's no way across, so we mag boot down the walls to the floor below. I mean, what is up? What is down in 0G? Down is whatever you want it to be. Okay, so I guess I kind of described it as a huge empty space, but let's see what we get in this huge space. Maybe it's not quite so empty. We've also entered a new area, so that's another unit of time gets marked off. Automated security measures. Delightful. The crew will encounter automatic security measures whenever their actions trigger the RC defense systems. These systems' sophistication makes them impossible to detect unless the characters are being cautious. We're not being cautious. Even when triggered, there is a possibility the character will manage to avoid the consequence. I hope that there's a possibility. Okay, right, so we have security measures. If we are just walking down a wall, maybe we trigger something that way. This isn't the intended way to get into this space. It is nanites. Okay, I guess just like a panel in the wall just like slides aside, and this like cloud of nanites just emerges and scurries all over someone. So a cloud of aggressive nanites is released. They surround a random character, inflicting 1 wound per round. The most effective way to deal with them is with fire, but be open to alternate solutions such as freezing them or executing them. They will move from character to character until there's nobody left. Oh god. There's a possibility we'll manage to avoid the consequences. Okay. Do we have a means of electrocuting? Well, let's determine who the unlucky person is. Are we gonna have a dead NPC already in the second room? It is character 5. It is Myrtis. Myrtis is surrounded by a cloud of nanites. Okay, let's see. So, electrocuting, setting them on fire, freezing them. What have we got? I mean, Myrtis is elderly. She had a good life, probably. Probably not really in this dystopian future. Okay, so we're all wearing vac suits, so I guess she's not being like her flesh isn't being eaten away right now, but they are presumably eating away the vac suit, and that's not going to hold them back for long. This is particularly a problem because the atmosphere here is toxic. So if her vac suit gets eaten away, she'll die anyway. We've got a bunch of batteries, but they're like suit batteries. They're not like car batteries. Thruster pack. The thruster pack must have little jets of fire coming out of it, surely. It could be jets of oxygen, I suppose, but that's less cool. Micro thrusters. That does sound like probably jets of gas rather than jets of fire. Okay, but we do need to deal with this, otherwise we're all gonna die. Just Google, what do spacesuit thrusters use? And unsurprisingly it is nitrogen, because it is, you know, not flammable. But maybe in our universe they use oxygen as the thruster gas. They could be dumb like that. Let's say that we use oxygen for our thrusters. So it is potentially flammable if we can think of something. Does the survival kit have anything useful here? Flares. Yes. Okay. Magnesium flare. How hot does magnesium burn? 3,100 Celsius. Does it burn without oxygen? Okay, cool. Yes, magnesium burns with even in the absence of oxygen, and you know, you must end up on so many watch lists by just googling RPG questions, but it's all in the service of realism, which is the altar we must sacrifice ourselves on. Okay, so we could use a flare. Magnesium flare. I feel like she's not gonna survive a 3,000 degree fire. That seems like a difficult situation to survive. I don't imagine a vac suit is rated for that sort of temperature. I mean, yeah, that's like twice the temperature it takes to melt steel. Okay. I'm sorry, Myrtis, but it's the nanites or us. Ooh, this is going to give some stress. Let's turn to our stress section. How much how much stress do we gain for burning a crew member alive to save ourselves? Seeing a crew member die is 15 stress. So I guess it's going to be that. And let me just remind myself how NPC stress works. Because I believe they gain 1 point of stress every time the PC does, but the effects of stress on them is different, I think. Let's see. Do we have an index? We don't have an index. We have a glossary, but that's not quite as useful. I want... Is it here? In the stress section, that would be convenient. No, okay. Let's just quickly skim through and see stress. I thought it was different for NPCs, but I'm now questioning whether it actually is or whether I dreamed that. Oh, hang on. NPC. Okay, so NPCs can receive 10 stress in a single hit, apparently. Okay, stress. It's in the NPC crew member section. I should have anticipated that and gone straight to it. Okay, NPC crew members gain 1 stress every time a PC gains any amount of stress. Every 10 stress inflicts a cumulative -1 to all their rolls. Okay. So I guess they can't gain 10 stress in a single hit. Okay, well, there we go, that's stress. Right. So I feel you can't just kill someone. You can't just burn someone alive with a magnesium flare in your hand. This is going to take some sort of roll to do. A resolve roll, I think, is the appropriate thing to happen here. So, I guess, like maybe the atmosphere is what convinces Salos to do it. Like, we activate this security system. We see a cloud of nanites just like engulf Myrtis, and like in seconds they're eating through her suit, and she's like yelling over the comms, "My suit's breached! Ah!" And Salos is like, "I'm sorry, Myrtis, but they'll come for us after you." And he fails his resolve roll. He cannot bring himself to do it. But I have luck. I can spend luck to re-roll a die. I guess I'll spend a point of luck. That's still no. Okay. Is someone else callous enough to do this? I mean, I don't just want to say, because I've decided the role is merited here, that all the characters are going to die. That's kind of dumb. think maybe the resolve just means that we delay until Murtis is like actually dead, so we hear her dying horribly over the comms. So we're going to get some stress for hearing her die. As well as stress, I think, for then doing this horrible thing, being in this awful situation. Let's give her 5 stress. Let's say this counts as an aberration. Okay, that's been a lot of talking and not much writing, so let's see what happens. So we head deeper into the facility, arriving at a broken bridge that once spanned a huge chamber. There's no way across, so we mag boot down the walls to the chamber below. So we start to mag boot down the walls to the chamber below. Suddenly, a panel opens and a cloud of nanites engulfs Murtis. In seconds, her suit is breached, melting before our very eyes. Screaming over the comms as the nanites and the corrosive atmosphere start to work on her flesh. Silas pulls out a flare, a magnesium flare. And hesitates. Just long enough to hear Murtis's death cries. Then torches the body before the nanites can spread to the rest of us. Okay, trauma response. So we have passed 20 stress. So Silas is going to earn a permanent obsession. Discard all stress and gain 1 trauma. Or he's going to discard all stress but 5 because he has a permanent 5 stress from one of his traumas. Didn't I note down stress somewhere? Oh, I put down that as stamina. Whoops. Right, so I was on 30 and I'm dropping down to 5. Let's go to our obsession and trauma tables. And we should tailor this to the, situations where we might just disregard the die roll or something. 9. Protector. You must help and protect others, often even from themselves. Only you can save them all. This does kind of fit with his obsession with becoming a famous diver and being ashamed at how poorly things have gone in practice. Maybe his reaction to this is the way he kind of like protects his own sanity from this is like immediately blaming Murtis for her death. He's like, damn it, why wasn't she following him in like, exactly where I stepped? We know these places have security systems. That sort of thing. So he's obsessed with becoming a famous diver, ashamed at how poorly the mission going in practice, but at the same time he doesn't trust anyone else to do the job right. He must be in charge, and his traumas, or his obsession rather. Sorry, no, that's the obsession. Now we get a trauma. Distracted by shadows, you can't focus on anything. I think that makes sense. That fits with what's going on. If he feels he has to be in charge, he has to keep everyone safe, then he's maybe like scrutinizing everything and is kind of getting lost in the weeds. Okay, -1 perception. So he is on 8 perception. Okay, room 2, we have 1 dead character and 1 more trauma on poor Silas Lang, so not looking good. Or rather, it's going about as poorly as all the other rooms I've looked through, all the other sites I've explored. Okay. So let's say that we make it down to the floor, and Silas is just like, we've got to get out of here. There could be more of those things. So Silas ushers everyone out of the room down the first corridor he sees, in case there are more nanites. No time to explore this room. So to immediately move into a new area. Area 3. New, sorry, not new, time passes. We've been in here 30 minutes and already someone is dead. So let's see what we've got and where it is. Start with the area connector. 13. A grand wide hallway, 20% chance of an ambush. No ambush. Okay. So Silas leads everyone down a huge corridor, big enough to fit a ship through. Which makes sense if it is a, ship yard. I don't know how to someone to think of that word. Yes, if the thing which left the kind of large factory-like space I described is actually a shipyard, you would have corridors there that are big enough to fit ships down. Otherwise, it's kind of like a ship in a bottle, right? You'd build it in there and you're stuck. Okay, where do we end up? We have an encounter. The first thing you must determine when facing an encounter is what exactly you are encountering. This varies depending on whether the crew is 1, 3 or 5 members. Sadly, we are now 4. But we're treated as 5 because that's how big our crew was initially. Okay. Let's not bother with the variable difficulty. Let's just go to the antagonists chapter and see what is going on. Hello Pixel, welcome in. Playing some Across 1,000 Dead Worlds, and it's going poorly. Let's also see what sort of room we've got. That is a 6. So we have care or enemy. Enemy fits. I don't know, maybe we'll see what sort of encounter we've got, and that could maybe tell us something about the sort of room that we have found ourselves in. The galaxy is full of horrors, sadly. Okay, difficulty. It is a easy encounter. I like that. Let's copy over a monster sheet, which is here. Let's move this along, put this here. Easy encounter, and we are in this site. Tufra 323301. Even if crew members die, the difficulty will remain the same for that expedition. So a 5-member crew that loses 2 members will still roll on the 5-member crew tables while generating encounters. So things get bad. Okay, we have an easy encounter, so roll the d20 of beasts. 18. 1 standard and 3 easy creatures. Okay, so we shall note this down here. I think it's here. I think I blotted out the creature generation from my mind because it was quite complicated, so yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, right, so we need our creature type. We are off planet, so we shall roll a d6. Here it will be a guardian, aberration, or synthetic. Is an aberration. Just encountering an aberration gives you stress. So, creatures that are just too strange and mind-bending to be considered fauna. Many suspect they're the result of RC experimentation or something worse. Facing an aberration always causes 5 stress. So Silas is going to get 5 stress. Everyone is going to gain stress because they're an NPC, and they witness a PC gain stress. We should also have gained stress for having a crew member die. So Myrtis is gone. Silas gains 5 stress, which means he might react negatively. We'll work that out in a moment. He has 5 traumas now, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Lovely. He has shaking hands and the enemies get close. So we see something and Silas immediately starts trembling. Okay, aberration. That's not how you spell aberration, it's a double R, not a double B. And how big is this thing? It is humanoid in size. Okay, what does it want? Parasitization, that's always lovely for an aberration. Xenomorph-like. This creature relies on other living beings for its reproduction. It will choose a host and use it to grow its offspring until they're devoured from the inside out. A character wounded by a parasitic creature must pass a con check or succeed to a parasitic infection. Okay, So we've come to this horrible place. One crew member has been eaten by nanites, and we had to burn their corpse with a magnesium flare to destroy the nanites. And we've now run into a xenomorph nest. And let's determine the creature's intelligence. This is an optional rule, but you know it's fun to know how smart something is. 7. It has an animal-like intelligence. Okay. So at least it's not smart like a xenomorph is. It is a 6 minus 1d4 intelligence. 2 intelligence. Right, so it's an easy encounter, so our starting stats are 8 strength, 4 dex, 8 con, 6 will, 2 intelligence because we've determined that it is dumb, and 0 charisma. It can take 1 wound before exploding. It has 5 awareness, which there is not space for here. Yes, I remember. There isn't space for like half the things you need to note down for a creature, which is kind of annoying. 5 awareness, no armor, no defense. It gets 1 ability. And its attack is, it has a +2 attack skill. And its damage, which we also don't have a spot for, is a d10 plus 5. Okay, if it's a ranged attack, it's going to be d10 plus 1. So we'll see if that is relevant. You need a roll. It is a lurker. It really is a xenomorph. And so this will give us a behavior table to work out what it does. We'll copy this up here. Probably be referring to that. It's quite a bit. Okay, lurkers, enemies that prefer to wait for the perfect moment to strike. They work best in groups, which isn't a group, so that they can swiftly attack and retreat to the shadows. What was our encounter specifically? It was 1 standard and 3 easy enemies. Okay. Lurkers do not suffer an attack of opportunity when disengaged from combat. They favour melee combat over their ranged abilities. +2 dex, -1 con. +5 attack skill against opponents not directly targeting them, and +2 awareness. So I guess we'll just ignore the... I guess it might still have a ranged ability. I believe all the creatures we get in the group will be the same sort, so let's just have a look. Yes, all the creatures are of the same type and must be generated accordingly. Okay. Generate the base creature and then modify it to the correct difficulty. Okay, right, so we have an easy and we have 1 standard, so I guess we'll work out the easy one and then we'll make the easy one and then we'll work out what it is as a standard thing. Or rather, we could... no, it's fine. We'll copy this and modify it. Okay, so we've got this. Let's see, what is standard? Okay, so standard thing starts with... Right, so it's 12. Then this is going to be 14. Con is going to be 9. Will, int, and charisma. You can take 1 wound. It has 10 awareness. So that's going to be 12. It has d10 plus 5 damage or attack plus 2 and 2d12 damage. Let's go for the d10 plus 5, just keep it simple and consistent. His attack skill is a plus 5. Actually no, let's go for the slightly more interesting one. So I'll have an attack skill of plus 2 and damage is 2d12. Range is d10 plus 2. It has 1 ability still. It has 2 armor, 2 armor or 2 defense. Let's go for... I can't actually remember what the difference between these things is. Let's go for armor. It's got like a tough hide or something. Okay, and then it has some recovery reactions, which we'll need space to note these down. Let's see, bloodied, let's say plus 2 damage. Cornered. Plus 2 defense. And overwhelmed, attempt to flee. Okay, I think that's that. We've got our lurker stats. Now for unique traits. So we'll work out what our weird creature... yes. Right, so we get these, and then later we'll work out what our weird creature looks like. So we'll say it's the same trait and abilities for both because it's the same sort of creature. It has plus 2 strength, minus 2 dex. So I guess it must be like an ambush predator, really. Then if it's a lurker, but it's actually not very dexterous. It just like hides and then like leaps on a victim and tries to take them down before they can really react. Just pummel them into the dirt. Okay, and then ability. Please don't be acid blood. Please don't be acid blood. Cleave or spread shot. If the creature passes a skill check, it makes a wide attack that hits all opponents in range, dealing 2d10 damage. Okay. Okay, so if it passes a skill check, it does 2d10 damage to all in range. And there's a box for damage, which I totally missed. So this guy has d10 plus 5. And this guy has 2d12. Okay, appearance. Weird and wonderful creature. So its general appearance of our ambush predator lurker thing that hunts in packs is serpentine. But it is covered with stone. Its unique feature is that it is brightly coloured. Feels like an odd choice for an odd evolutionary choice for a lurking predator. It has bipedal. Oh, it has two limbs. It is bipedal, so it walks mostly upright. And that means it has a human level movement speed. Its limbs are tentacles. I guess it doesn't have 4 limbs because it's only got 2 of them. Its mouth is a trunk. It's a very odd creature. It's kind of, if it's like a snake, with snaky limbs and a trunk. It's an aggressive noodle. Okay, its eyes are side-facing. And it has one of them. So it has an eye on the left side of its head. I'll need to adjust my diagram then. Only one eye. And the mouth is the trunk. So here we go. Let's here we go. This is what it looks like. Okay, right, and then what is it called? It has a 3-syllable name. And that name is it is a 4 lun. It is a Forlunrio. Maybe a Foulunrio. Okay, that is the horrible beast we encounter. Okay, right. So we encounter. Yes, Noodle was a better name. Let's just say that's what people call it. It's a Foulunrio or a Noodle. So we have a big noodle and a small noodle. Okay, right, let's remember how combat works. Let's see, combat. So, the combat in the game uses hex maps, and we get 6 hex maps kind of provided. We have these 3 alien facility ones, and then we have 3 like planet ones. But there is also a zone-based combat approach, which I wonder about. I didn't try. So maybe we give this a shot. Yeah, let's try this out. Okay. So we have 4 zones. Let's make a little battle map here. I think there is a web app somewhere for the generation. Okay, right, so we have zone 1. Then 2, 3, 4. We start in zone 1, and we start in zone 4. So there are now 4 of us. So I need, 4 player tokens and 4 enemy tokens, actually, because there's 3 easy ones. So we all get our own personal monster. Let's shrink these a bit. I mean, I feel like the monsters are gonna, close with us and try to swarm us, and we'll try to not do that. Okay, here we are. Here's our amazing battle map. Okay, normal combat rules apply. Right, 1 zone contains full cover. Roll a d4 to determine which. Zone 1, we have full cover. Alright, we can move 1 zone per turn, although I feel we're not going to move out of this one if we've got cover. Must be in the same zone for melee combat, makes sense. You can target combatants in adjacent zones. Alright, let's check the weapons. What sort of weapons have we got? Because that will determine their range. Okay, so let's start with Silas. He has an AW and S. I don't remember what that is. Let's see, weapons. So let's see, what were the types it cared about? Pistol and shotgun have 1 zone range. SMG is 2 zone. Okay, let's just see. So pistols. Well, we all have our like standard basic service pistols. Those will have a range of 1. SMGs. I think everyone has. Oh, actually, Kyoko only has a service pistol, so she can only shoot things 1 zone away. Yeah, let's note down the range here. So that's that. Then Don't have any of those. The AWS is a rifle, so is the Requiem B99 carbine. Rifles go 3 zones. Okay, right, so that's pretty straightforward then. So everyone's service pistols shoot the adjacent zone, everyone's better guns shoot the full range. Oh yeah, we don't have any other weapons. Okay. Explosives. I don't think we have any explosives. It would have been smart to bring some explosives, I suppose, but I didn't. And I have... let's see. Yeah, so before determining an area's contents, you may preemptively roll a stealth check to avoid any potential enemies. This is an opposed check versus the enemy with the highest awareness. So we could sneak away. If you avoid combat, you move along, leaving the area undetected after seeing what's within. So I guess that would mean going back to the big ship hangar place. Honestly, let's try it. Let's see if we can escape. So let's see. I assume this is going to be our worst stealth versus the enemy's highest awareness. So NPCs don't have skills. Stealth, I believe, comes under dexterity. Let's have a look. Yes, stealth comes under dexterity for NPCs. PCs do have skills, and annoyingly, I have 0 stealth. So I have the worst stealth in the group. I need to roll a nat 20 to succeed on this check. I do not expect to do so. No. Okay, we are not able to sneak away undetected. Oh, no, this is the sneakiest. Ah, I see, okay. Right, so yes, Ruth, the group's sneakiest crew member, scouts ahead into the derelict structure. She rolls a stealth check. After GM determines that there are in fact potential enemies in the area, they roll a 6 on their opposed check, and so Ruth takes a look inside, sees a group of bizarre creatures, and then unseen exits the area and returns to report her findings. So we didn't scout ahead. I very specifically and clearly said Silas just like heads off down the first tunnel he sees. And so I think we're just heading out as a group. And so I think in this situation it makes sense to roll the worst stealth, which would be Silas, because we were not scouting. Okay, right. So, okay, combat. Most of these violent encounters are incomprehensible visions from hell. Okay, we do have a 2 in 10 chance of it choosing to just leave us alone. It does not choose to leave us alone. Alright, so we have got our combat map set up. We have determined where the cover is. It's in our starting one, which is quite nice. We've got the positions, initiative rolls and stuff. Okay, I don't think we have surprise, because no one was sneaking. Okay, let's roll initiative and then we will break for the ads. So, I guess I need to... Okay, cool, yes, these already have numbers on. So we got 4 PCs and 4 enemies. I need to determine which of these is the... I guess enemy 1 will say is the normal difficulty one, and enemies 2 to 4 are the easy ones. So, initiative. It's just... It's D10 plus speed. Everyone has the same speed. So... Right, okay. Annoyingly, I don't have 4 different colours of D10s out. That would be super convenient right now. So we'll say that the white one is... We'll just go in order. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no. I do have 4 different D10s. So if we have these 2, and then the black D10, and then we have the white D100. So we'll do those in 2 groups. So okay. So our initiative for the players are right. So player 1 is 5. Player 2 is 10. Player 3 is 7. And player 4 is also 10. I'll say the ones of the same initiative can act however they want. And then for enemies... Okay, right, so enemy 1 is also on 10. Enemy 2 is on 3. Enemy 3 is on 8. And enemy 4 is on 6. Okay, so... seems fairly mixed, I guess. Okay, right, so we have ads coming up, so we will pause for the ads, and we'll then get into a fight, and hopefully we won't have the entire party ripped apart, or alternatively, there's a nice way to say this, or alternatively impregnated by parasitic aliens. That would also be a bad outcome here. So we'll find out what happens after the ad break. See you in 3 minutes. Okay, we are back from ads. I've just looked a little ahead in the combat rules. I think... so we see that the jig is up, and that we have been spotted, and these enemies are... Let's see, what was their behaviour? Initiates combat with a surprise attack, or attacks someone already engaged with their opponents. Okay, let's see. I do guess need to look up surprise. How do enemies surprise? It says if one side surprises another. Maybe it would be determined narratively. Not really seeing how they could surprise us if we have come into this place and seen them. But yes, okay, right. So I think we see these things and they start moving towards us. So I think if the jig is up, it is time to switch to aggressive stance, which will give a bonus to our initiative and attack rolls, but a penalty to our defense. And we must then spend a bunch of stamina on offensive maneuvers every round. So a regular attack with a gun costs 5 stamina. We have 10 stamina to play with each round per character. And so if we're in aggressive stance, we can fire our rifles twice per round, and we'll get a bonus on those rolls. I think that is a sensible thing to do, because I don't want to be the mother of an alien's child. So who is our medic? Our medic is character 4, I believe. Yes, so Kyoko does not have a rifle, so Kyoko is just going to be in neutral stance, but everyone else who has a rifle is going to be in aggressive stance. So I guess we'll just stay in this stance until like the enemies close into melee range with us. So let's just shuffle around the initiative order a bit. Alright. And I don't think we need to... I don't think we want to move. I think we just want to open fire. So, ranged combat. So first we have characters... character 4 is our medic, so they are not aggressive, so they're going to remain on the 10 initiative. I guess they're not really anything they can usefully do. Okay, so character 2, who is... Character 2 is Licia. The attacker rolls to attack while the target tests Dex. So this is an opposed Dex roll. NPCs don't have specific gun combat stats, so it's just Dex. With a +4 because we're in aggressive stance. And the enemy tests Dex. If the attacker rolls higher, they score a hit. Okay. So it's very convenient that the 2 NPCs have 10 Dex. And my ranged combat is a 10 as well, so I'm always rolling a D20 plus 10 for my rifles. That's very convenient. Okay, and the monster's Dex is... I feel like maybe arranging all of these things in a long line like I have done is not the most optimal way to navigate an infinitely large 2-dimensional virtual whiteboard, but whatever. Okay, these guys have terrible Dex. Let's say that we can distinguish the standard one and the easy ones. Maybe the standard one is a bit bigger. So let's just open fire on the easy ones first. So say that whoever I said character 2 is, they're going to open fire on enemy 2, the first easy enemy. So they're rolling a d20 plus 14. The enemy's rolling a d20 plus 4. And we crushed it, and hopefully crushed them. So if the attack is successful, roll a hit location and calculate damage. All PCs have a base damage of 10 plus their weapon's damage, and any modifications from the hit location. So hit location. It is a serpentine enemy. So we roll a d10 on this. And once I've got into the habit of which dice need to roll, I'll just roll all of them in one go, because that'll be much easier. 6, the middle. We hit the middle of the snake. Makes sense. Okay. The weak ones, they don't have defense or armor. Okay. So it is a d10 plus the weapon damage of a B99 carbine, which let's get that up here. That is a d10 plus 5. It also has burst and powerful. So let's see what those do. Powerful seems like maybe we could do a powerful shot. So burst. You can reroll damage. Okay, very nice. Where's power? It's powerful was described in the combat rules. So a powerful. You can do a heavy attack. It is plus d6 damage. Okay. But then we'd only be able to do this once, because a heavy attack costs 8 stamina. I think doing 2 standard attacks is probably better than doing 1 heavy attack. Okay, so I had burst, powerful, and anything else? Two-handed. Okay, let's just go for the burst damage then, so we can re-roll damage, which is good. There's a wonderful chance this expends 1 ammo. Okay. So we hit once, and we're going to take a second shot, so I'll see if that hits, then we'll roll the damage at once. We hit a second time. We hit it right in the middle. Again. Okay, 2 shots to the middle of the snake. The middle of a small noodle. Takes 2 bullets. We'll roll 2 sets of damage. Then we need to remember how damage works in this game. I'm going to re-roll this one. Oh, that's even worse. Okay, it's a 1 in 4 chance of expending ammo. We expended some ammo to do a worse shot. Okay, let's note that down here. So Licia is down to 9 ammo. So we don't track individual bullets. Normally we just use up some ammo. Once the clock ticks over, if we get to the end of an hour, we decrement all the stuff we've used. So we don't have 10 bullets. We have 10 hours worth of bullets. But we just expended some of that. Okay, let's remember how damage works in this game. Okay, if the damage exceeds the target's con, the target is knocked down. It has a con of 7, so we have a 6 damage and more than 7 damage. If damage total exceeds the target's con, they are knocked down. They can only move 1 hex per turn. They can't spend any stamina, and if they hit while knocked down, they receive a wound. This enemy can only withstand 1 wound, so a second hit will kill Noodle number 2. So let's flip this guy upside down to indicate he is knocked down. Okay, right, so then on the 10 initiative, we have our medic. I don't think they're going to do anything. They can't do anything useful. Like, they only have a pistol, so they're not in range. And then we have enemy 1, which is the standard difficulty 1. I guess it has to move up because it can't do any of its other things. Enemy 1 moves up. Now we have player 3, which is our other... everyone has the same stats, just by amazing coincidence. This is Wasim, who gets distracted easily but not in combat. So he's going to do the same. I'm going to fire two shots at... let's fire one shot at Noodle number 2 and try to take it out, and then we'll see what happens after that. Okay. Completely misses. I'm just going to take a second shot at Noodle 2. Okay, he has a higher... Yeah, that's... he has hit a 20 there and has a higher number. So he has hit Noodle 2 in the middle. A lot of hits to the middle of the snake. Okay, and then that's... yes, the aggressive stance just affects our attack scoring, doesn't affect our damage. Just a d10 plus 5 damage, and I can re-roll this if I want to. That'd be 9. That's enough to kill Noodle 2. Okay. So it takes a second wound. And I believe that just means it's dead. So I'm just going to go with that. Right, let's strike Noodle 2 from the initiative order. Right, now we have Noodle 3 is going to move up. And we have Silas is going to take 2 shots at Noodle 3, I guess. So first one misses. Second one, that's a 9. So yes, that is a hit in the middle of the snake. And that is enough damage to knock it down. Okay, now it is Noodle 4's turn, so it's also going to move up. And that's the end of the round. I think we're going to stay in the same stance. I don't believe we reroll initiative. Yeah, we don't reroll initiative. Yes, only initiative determined once at the start of combat. We can spend stamina to adjust our initiative, but yeah, I think we're sticking with this. Yeah, I think we'll just do the same thing. So, start with character 2. It's going to open fire on... let's see, first bullet's going to Noodle 3. Hits. For 9 damage, Noodle 3 is dead. Second shot is going onto Noodle 4. That's a definite miss. Okay. So then we have, let's see. Okay. Now, depending on the order in which these things happen, our medic could potentially take a shot. It would be pretty cheesy for me to say, oh, the enemy moves first, conveniently into the range of the medic. So I'm just gonna Let's roll a die. So if it's a 1, 2, or 3, our medic will go first. If it is a 4, 5, or 6, the enemy will go first. Okay, so yep, enemy's still not in range on the medic's turn, but then now the enemy moves up. There's probably something in here about initiative ties, whatever. Right, okay, player 3 I think is going to take shots at enemy 1 because they're now very close. That is not a 20, so that's a miss, and then bullet number 2. That is 20, but this is also, let's see, what is this? So this is going to be 22, and this is going to be, this is the standard difficulty one, so this is going to be, yeah, so that is not higher. Okay, both shots miss Noodle 1. Now for enemy 3. Enemy 3 is dead. Strike them from the initiative. Silas is going to take 2 shots at Noodle 1. Nope. Okay, Noodle 1 is invulnerable, it seems. No. Okay, every shot at Noodle 1 has missed. Now enemy 4 is going to move up. Okay, right. New round. Don't want to change combat stance. I think so. Let's have a look at the parasitization. I think it was every time that you're hit, you have to like save or be face hugged. Let's see. Antagonists. Let's see, parasitization. A character wounded by a parasitic creature, okay, wounded, not just a hit, must pass a con check or succumb to a parasitic infection. This is page 86. Some records tell of parasitic alien organisms that can lay eggs or larvae within a human body, infecting them and turning them into involuntary hosts. An infected character is as good as dead. That's not so good. There are 2 ways to save their life. Reach the KSA by some miracle before the gestation period is over. The gestation period is D20 time tracks. Okay, so that's not very long. Or return to a ship, remove any armor, and perform a field surgery. No such attempts have succeeded without the death of the host. Yeah, okay. I really think we don't want to be hit. So, if we switch to defensive stance, that's going to give us a massive penalty to attack, and I don't think we want that. Maybe we'll stick with aggressive for this round, and then we'll become defensive next round once it's all fully in melee. So, I'm actually going to have our medic switch to aggressive stance as well, now that the enemies are in range. So we'll get 4 shots off before any of the enemies move into melee range. So we'll start with player 2. Completely misses. Also a complete miss. I shouldn't use my weighted black D12. Okay, now for player 4. So they had, I think it was 12 dex. Yeah, so they're slightly better. But it's a pistol, so it's going to do less damage. Ah, why am I rolling so low on the white D12 and so high on the black D12? Okay, that's much more like it. So we've got a 15. So that what, 31 with all the modifiers, and we have a 10 here, which goes up to 22. Yeah, okay. It has 2 armor though, and I need to remember how armor works. Oh, we also need a hit location. Hit them right in the 10. Right in the head. That's a +3 to damage. Oh, amazing. Our medic just, like... All the shots going wide, our medic just, like, raises their pistol, aims, and hits it right in the head. Okay, armor. So if the enemy has a defense stat, they can subtract that many points from attack rolls. Okay. Armor. So defense makes you harder to hit. Armor. Okay, right, I see. So defense makes you harder to hit. Armor... So defense reduces the to hit roll, armor reduces the damage roll. Okay, so it's just going to soak up 2 points of damage. It's a pistol, so they're just using the service pistol. Yeah, that's all they have. Wow, the service pistol is plus D10 damage. That's pretty good. That's a better damage boost than the rifle. Also, I realized I was maybe rolling the wrong damage for... I think I rolled the wrong damage for at least one of my attacks, but because I rolled the +5 but for the Requiem, but the AWS has a plus D10. But I don't think it actually matters because nothing still up is wounded. Okay. So I guess the pistol has a pretty good damage bonus, but a very short range, which is what balances this out. So... Let's see, so we're rolling 2d10 damage, 2d10 minus 2. Hang on, it's in the head, which is a +3. So it's 2d10 plus 1 overall. 16 damage. That definitely exceeds its con, so it is knocked down. Okay, let's look at enemy... resolution, because this is going to be important now. So if they get knocked down, they roll a recovery check on their turn. If successful, they can actually have disadvantage to all rolls the rest of combat. If unsuccessful, they remain knocked down and cannot attack. Okay, so this guy is kind of stuck until he gets up. Can they move when knocked down? I think they can. Yes. Knocks down, they can move 1 hex per turn, cannot spend stamina. And if they're hit when knocked down, they receive a wound. And this can only take 1 wound. So he's harder to knock down and deals more damage, but once he is knocked down, he's just as vulnerable. Okay. Right, enemy 1 then is going to make a recovery roll, which is a will roll, I believe. No, enemies also have morale, which I totally forgot about. Okay, so when their first ally is killed or when being knocked down. Ooh, okay. It's past a will check, okay. That is a pass. Okay, so it's not demoralized. Recovery rolls. Where was that specified? Okay, it is a will check. Yeah. Yes, a will check. It's right here on this page, which I was looking at before and just glossed over it. Okay. So, can the guy get up? Yes, he can. That's very sad. Okay, so he gets up. That's my rotator. There it is. Once an enemy recovers from being knocked down, roll a d6 to determine their status. 3. Cornered, which I believe gave a bonus to defense. Okay, so he's now harder to hit and soaks up damage. So let's make a note. He is +2 def. Okay, I guess he can move as well and attack. Let's see, we have special behaviors here. Okay, so behavior matrix. Right, let's roll in the behavior matrix, then roll for a target if indeed they are attacking. 6. Maneuvers, either to change targets, to avoid being surrounded, or to leverage the terrain or situation. I don't think that... okay, we have cover here, so I guess it's maybe like... It's a snake, it's like slithering over the cover, I suppose. To get to someone, so we have a target creature table. I guess everyone's kind of in a similar situation. No one's wounded or anything. Most dangerous opponent, I suppose, could matter. Yeah, let's see what we got. 7. The most protected opponent. I think everyone is equally protected because we're all behind cover here. So let's roll a d4. It's going to our medic. Okay. And is going to attack. So, let's see, melee attack. Yep, they have an attack skill. His attack is a +2, that's really not much. And you roll your combat skill in the opposed check. Okay, so this is melee combat, which I'm going to assume is strength. So Kyoko, let's just have a look at the... I've got a handy reference that I should probably have been looking at. Let's see. Yeah, both parties roll d20 and add their skill. Attacker adds a +2. In close combat, not in ranged combat. Okay, so if the attack has a +2, he's actually, and he has a combat of +2, he's actually rolling +4. Still feels really not much. +5 versus opponents not directly targeting them. I think we have been targeting this guy, so that doesn't matter. So he's just rolling a d20 +4. And Kyoko's rolling a d20 plus something higher, I think. So nobody hits there. Those are all low rolls. Okay, so that was enemy 1's turn. Now it is... we have player 3 and player 1 who get to act. I think they're going to have to switch to melee because you get a disadvantage. Yeah. You have a -2 penalty and a 50% chance of hitting the wrong targets. So I don't want to do ranged combat anymore. So let's see, what's player 3's weapon? They've got a knife at least. That's Wasim. He has a combat knife. It'd be very cool if we had the Drake's Fang with its +2d10 damage, but sadly we just have a regular knife. Not even a nanocarbon knife, just a regular knife. It's quick, which I believe means we can attack multiple times with it. So I think we can maybe get 3 attacks off. Let's see, quick. You can make a fast attack. Okay, -2 to our combat skill. But we have a +4 from being an aggressive stance, so let's see. So we could do 3 attacks at +2. I think that's definitely worth it. Yeah. Then let's just check the NPC rules. And yes, strength is for close combat. So Wasim has an 8 strength, so he is rolling a d20 plus 10 overall. And he can do that 3 times. But the downside is in melee, the one who rolls highest scores a hit. So the noodly boy could hurt Wasim, I suppose. That doesn't happen with this first attack, so that's hitting him in the enemy in the middle for how much damage is it? 1 plus plus a d10. Okay. Okay, 9 damage. That is higher than its con, I think. Where is it? Where's our wiggly boy? Oh, that's equal to his con. Oh, but he's got armor. Okay, that's not enough damage then. Okay, so first attack, the knife kind of comes in and hits the snake, but kind of glances off the like stone-like scales and doesn't manage to deal like, meaningful damage. You know, rolling below the con. Even if he hits, if you roll below the con, it doesn't do anything. It's just a missed opportunity, I guess. We can now make a second attack. So that is an 18 to hit. Yep, that is definitely a hit. It is not in the middle. It is in the upper body, which gives a +2 to damage. And I have got a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage. Okay. Oh, hang on, this guy has 2 defense now. So I actually rolled an 18 to hit. And I'm pretty sure I need at least a 20 because it's even in an opposed roll. So let's just check that. It does say whoever rolls the highest, but I feel like surely you need to succeed. Opposed checks. Both parties make a standard roll. Whoever rolls the highest result wins the contest. If there's a tie, both characters re-roll as a clear victor. Okay, so we don't actually get a nothing happens result. Okay, so I guess we just keep re-rolling. Well, now that's an enemy hit. Okay, so the sneaky boy gets a bite in, I suppose, hitting our guy right in the torso. Okay, for +1 damage. Snake does 2d12 damage. Let's clear these out the way then. I wish I hadn't checked the rules. I wish I thought it was just nothing happens. That's a lot of damage. That's 18 damage. Okay. That's gonna be enough to... I mean, that's definitely more than his con. Wasim's con. Okay, let's have a look. Yep, target is knocked down. If they hit while knocked, they receive a wound. Okay. Wasim gets knocked down. He does have 2 defense, but that's not really going to help in this situation. Okay. He's knocked down, and I think that's his turn. Done. Now we have player 1, Silas, who also just has the rubbish knife, I think. The free knife. Yeah, okay. I guess we're not gonna go for the quick attacks because of the penalty to hit there. Oh, and Wasim needs to see if he is parasitized. So what check was that? A con check. Okay, Wasim has not been parasitized. Alright, let's see. Ranged combat in melee range. Targeting an enemy in your melee range inflicts a -2 penalty. Even at range, though, a shot fired into melee has a 50% chance of hitting the wrong target. I think I'm reading that as, since these are separate sentences and this is even at range, though, I'm reading this as if you shoot at someone in your melee range with a gun, you have a -2 penalty, but you do not have a 50% chance of hitting the wrong target. These are separate things. So, I think this is worth doing. I can use my AWS to try to shoot Snake Man. And does it let me do? Is it a powerful weapon? I really want to deal lots of damage to this guy. It has full auto. What does that mean? Does that mean I can fire multiple times? Or does it give me a bonus to something? Full auto, you can use suppressive fire. I don't think that's useful here. It's already in close range. Okay, so I guess I'll use my AWS to try to shoot the guy right next to me. Okay, so I rolled an 18 and I'm rolling, and I have a +12. He's rolled a 13 and also has a +12, so I just barely succeed on that. Hang on, not even +12. I have a plus. No, yes, it is a +12 from the +4 from being in aggressive stance and -2 from being in close range. So I do hit. I need to work out where I hit the snake. Probably in the middle. It's always in the middle of the snake. It's in the middle of the snake. Okay, then it is 2d10 damage. 13 damage. That is enough to knock down the snake. And I have a... Oh, hang on. He has 2 armor. I think it's fine. I think it still worked out okay. So he's knocked down. He is going to take 11 damage because he has 2 defense. What is his con? His con is 9. Okay, so this is still enough to knock him down. Then going to take a second shot. If I can get a second hit in, we can take this guy out. That is a definite miss. Okay. Alright. Now it is enemy 4, who is obviously going to move up. And we'll need to determine a target, and let's see. What have we got? 2. The most wounded opponent. Well, that's going to be our guy here, person number 3, who is knocked down, which means disadvantage on things. It means disadvantage on defensive actions, but I don't have any stamina left for defensive moves. I've been attacking all the time. Okay. Right. So this is, what was it, D10 plus 4 versus D10 plus whatever his close range is. 8. Not D10, D20. Okay. He succeeded. The PC succeeded. Let's see. It says if they're just hit while knocked down. Okay, I mean, I guess it wasn't a successful hit because of the poor roll. But since it says hit rather, and it doesn't specify hit above for damage above the con, I guess you don't need to deal super damage maybe to kill a downed opponent. Maybe you just need to hit them. Okay, so that was the round. We're now over 3 hours, so we'll resolve this combat and then we'll finish this exploration some other time. Okay, so we have characters 2 and 4 who get to act. So we're going to stay in aggressive stance. We're going to keep firing with our guns. So we'll start with character 2. (17). That's a tie. It's ranged though, so I guess it's not really an opposed roll. It's just a success. It's just a roll to hit. Where's the page? Here's the page. Yeah, so I guess it's just a miss. And then the second attack is a hit. Okay. That's D10. Oh, determine hit location. That's the upper body of the snake, plus 2 damage. So it is D10 plus 7. 17. I think that is enough to take out enemy 1. That was both shots for character 2. Now we'll go for character 4, who has an 8 dex, I think it was. 12 dex. But they're using a pistol. Okay. Actually, yes, I'm dumb. It would have been best to use the pistol rather than the fancy gun, because the pistol does more damage in close range. Oh well. Okay. Right, our medic now pulls out his pistol and is going to try to put 2 bullets inside this snake man. Let's see. That's plus 14 to hit, and yeah, okay. That hits, so it is the middle of the snake, and 10 damage. Okay, that downs the snake. And then our medic, tears streaming down his face because the thought of killing a living creature pains them, pulls the trigger a second time, and the bullet just like slams into the ground next to the writhing snake. Okay, right, so enemy 1 is gone, so all the PCs get to act actually. So PC 3 is going to make a will check to try to get up. I think probably got enough will for that. 12 plus 12, yep, okay, so Wasim gets up and is gonna do the same. Get out his pistol. That's a miss. That's hit. Okay, and since, as I looked in here and said, it actually just says hit. If you're hit when downed, you take a wound. I guess that is just a wound, regardless. We don't need to roll for damage, and so the snake is defeated. Okay, so I think we made it through this fight without anyone getting killed or parasitized or wounded. So that's pretty good. I mean, it is an easy encounter, so I suppose that makes sense. So let's try to summarize this. Silas leads everyone down a huge corridor, big enough to fit a ship through, right into a group of snake creatures. Of horrific snake creatures. The fight is short and bloody. We dispatch them before they're able to do serious harm. But it looks like they were trying to latch onto us more than they were trying to kill us. Creepy. Hopefully there are no more of these things. Or hopefully we see no more of these things. Okay, right. So we are 3 hours and 10 minutes into the stream. We've managed to go through 3 rooms in our dungeon. So I guess we will be returning to this in a future Monday. But that's it. We'll wrap it up here. Continue exploring the sites. We've barely made any money at all yet. Like artifacts, they're described as the amazing big money things, but actually they don't get you that much money. So we can't leave now. We have to keep exploring and hopefully find like a reasonable amount of money and at least enough to pay for a nice funeral for our dead companion, I suppose. So that is it. We will... Oh, I believe combat takes time as well. So that's that. So we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. What else is happening this week? On Friday, more Astro Prisma. And on Saturday, more Seance of Blake Manor. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time it is for you. Bye.